So before anything, this is just an overview. It's not meant to be an in-depth tutorial. It's just a quick tutorial on how to set it up. You can read the docs if you want to learn more about it, or if you're not interested, just skip ahead to the next video. So, linters, why should you use it? You must be thinking like, ah, shit, another stuff to learn. But don't worry, after you learn the benefits and you see how easy it is, you never code without them again. Most new developers will shy away from like weird looking config files. I know I did. It's like you see Webpack stuff, is like, oh no way, what the hell is that? So, but linter doesn't need to be complex. You can start it like with one single line, and that's all you need to get started. So let's take a look. We're going to use two libraries, ESLint and Prettier. ESLint is a style guide on how you should write your code. The thing with it is that you're always going to tell you like, this is wrong, and like you can check it out how to fix it. And then you can go and fix it before your code is ready to be built. And Prettier is a formatter, has nothing to do with linting, and that is just gonna format your code in a nice and organized way that you're gonna keep a standard. So, like if you ever gonna share your code to someone, or you're gonna get some people code, you can use your if the code is ugly, you can just quick use Prettier to format it, and that's it. It's gonna look familiar to you depending on the settings you're gonna be using afterwards. So let's get started. First we need to install ESLint. So npm install. Here we're gonna pass the -d flag and then ESLint. The -d will save it as a development dependency. So if you're checking here on the package.json, is a dev dependency. This will not be packaged up with your app. It will be used only while you're coding. So next, we need to create a config file for this ESLint. It's gonna stay on the root of our application, and it's basically starts with a dot, and that means it's gonna be a hidden file. ESLint RC. This RC on Unix machines, basically that means like a configuration file or something like this. I don't actually know what it stands for, but yeah, most files are like that, RC. Here you have the ESLint, and now we can create an object, and here we can say extends and then ESLint :recommend. You save it, and that's it. That's your configuration file. Now to run, because you don't have it installed globally and you actually don't need it, you can use the npx, which is a feature from npm after I think npm 4 or 5 maybe. It comes bundled with this. Whenever you install Node, it comes npm and this npx, which allows you to run local installed packages as a global. So npx ESLint, and here you can say either the file you want to lint or dot for everything. I'm gonna change my terminal here so we can see properly, and then you press enter. I have a typo in here. Is recommended. Sorry about that. You saw that before. And now there you go. You have this require is not defined. Module is not defined. And that's because we are using Node and ESLint doesn't know. And we're also using module, which is not on by default. It usually is script by default. So we need to add these two things in here. And that you can do with the environment. So here you just comma and then you put env. Here's going to be another object. And you can put node true and ES6, which is what you're going to be using, for true as well. There you go. When you save, let's try to run it again. Now you only have one. Read only require should not be modified. Parsing error. Import and export may appear only when the source type is module. We're gonna change that as well. So here is the next part. Parse options, not the object. So let's do the ECMA version. And here you can add any version you want, 2017. We're going to be using on this course. So next is source type. And here is the one, module. Now we just need to tell what kind of ECMA features we're going to use. And we can set modules true. If you're using a regular Node application and you set ESLint recommend and then Node, you should be fine. But because you are using ESM, which is not yet supported without the package you installed, we need to do this extra step. So if you do it again, ESLint, parser option. Most case scenarios, like as I mentioned before, you can do it with one-liner. It's this one would be enough, but because you're using the ESM modules, you're using Node, we need to set these other things over here. So next thing here, we have this read global require should not be modified, and we also have a console log statement over here, which is our app console log over here. This is not recommended to leave in production. That's why it says it's an error. So now we can remove the stuff by using the rules. And here there are two that we're going to use, and it's here. Global, no global assign, which is this one here. That fix this one, no global assign. And the no console. So before I clear the terminal and run it again, let me show you how do I get this information over here. So this is the problem that is causing. I would copy it, and then in the eslint.org website, you can just paste in here on the docs, and it's gonna appear over here. Disallow native objects, no global assignment. When you click in there, it's going to show you some rules and some options that you can set, like this is exactly what we did over here. But instead of the object, we are passing the require, which is the error we're getting for the no global assignment. And now the second one is the no console. Back again on the search, the disallow no console. Here as well is gonna explain you about this rule and how can you do it, allow or not, and so on. I'm going to disable for now because we're going to be console log a lot of stuff for the course. Also, if you are, now that you are here, if you go to user guide, configuring ESLint, here are the things we just did. We set the parse options to ECMA 6. These are the versions that you can use. You can also set as 2015 or 16 or 17. This is what we're using for the ECMA version. The source type, it was set for script. That's why it gave us the error. And then we change for module, which is the source type module. And the ECMA features, we add the modules which we are using with the ESM. So as you can see, the features are here. There are more rules. For example, like if you same column and stuff like this. All this stuff you can find on rules, and here are the rules and how you can get more information about them. But this we're gonna get into more details about the rules when you're gonna get the Prettier plugin. So for now, I'm just gonna run it again, and nothing returns because everything was alright. So I'm gonna use I'm gonna comment out this console log over here for a second, and I'm gonna run it again. Now we have this problem over here and the warning. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you how to format this output. This output doesn't look very nice, so we can format it with -- format, and then I like the table format and then the dot as we did before. So -- format table. When you do that, it's gonna appear in a nice table format, and you can check it out, the formatters here on the US guides. Formatters here, there are different ways to display. I like the table, but if you scroll down, this is how it's gonna show. Check style, code frame. A lot of people like this one as well. This is personal preferences. I like the table because it keeps things organized, but also if you are in a smaller terminal, it's not gonna look so nice. So anyways, that's what I wanted to say about formatting types. If you run, it's 0 errors, 0 warnings. Now let's create a script on our package.json that is gonna run this linter for us. So let's call it, hit this name, you can give it whatever you want. I'm gonna call lint. So we can use ESLint. We did -- format table. And now we're gonna pass -- fix. This, if there is any error, is gonna try to fix by itself, which is kind of cool. And then the dot is gonna to lint every file in this in our project. So now that we have our ESLint installed and configured, it's time to get our formatter. And this is the one that we're going to use. It basically just formats your code, doesn't do anything else, but it's really important. So let's get it started with. We're going to configure with Prettier, integrated with ESLint. Here there are all the informations, but in a nutshell, you need to install Prettier, ES plugin Prettier, and ESLint config Prettier. We're gonna extend Prettier as well. So here we need to make an array of options, and we use the plugin Prettier / recommended. So in the rules, we need to add Prettier. Error. So whenever there is a formatting problem, it's gonna show us an error. Let's try it now. So let's run our linter, npm run lint. We still don't have any problem at the moment. The linter, it's set to use double quotes as a default. The Prettier always formats like this as default. You can see by just pay attention on this code over here. It's gonna change for double quotes. If you run the lint, there you go. It formats your code with the Prettier, and then it fixes the lint problems if there is any. Now, Prettier gives you a lot of options on how to set it up. The same goes for ESLint. Every error that ESLint can cause in your code, you can turn it off, or you can do something else with it. So on Prettier, you have a bunch of options that you can configure. Like, for example, a lot of people don't like semicolons, or they use space instead of tabs. It's totally based on your preferences. So anyways, these are the options you can find in here on the docs, on the prettier.io options. And here there is a list. You can go through it and see your preferences. For me, this is what I like. And there are a few ways that you can put. You can create a .prettier.rc over here, but I prefer to put it in a package.json. You just need to add a Prettier over here, and then you can add your preferences. I don't like to use semicolons. I don't care whatever you guys said. I don't like it. I don't use spaces. So use tabs, true. And I like single quotes. True. So back in here, you can find use tabs, semicolons and stuff. All these informations are here. Single quote. Here's the code that you need to put over there. Is the API override. And here's the default for every option. So now that is done, I'm gonna open up my app.js and I'm gonna run my lint again. I have a type in here. So use tabs. If I run again, now my code is changed the way I like. Now we have our linter and our prettier set up, and you're ready to go.